This is the Minor League Hockey Report podcast.
This is Minor League Hockey Report podcast number 28, being recorded on Wednesday, May 28th, 2014. I'm Matthew Harding, joined by Zach Porter and Jason Schaube, and our special guest from the Wichita Thunder. Our podcast this time is sponsored by Superior Signs and Engraving. They're your choice for signs, trophies, name badges, plaques, and more. Visit them online at superiorsigns.biz. Also, thanks to our friends over at chlforums.com for partnering with us again this season. Thunderstruck as we begin the podcast on this Wednesday after Memorial Day. We hope that you have taken the time to remember those who have served in our armed forces and remembered those who have fallen in the name of freedom. Zach, Jason, how you guys doing?
Good, how are you?
Not too bad.
I'm tired, long weekend.
Yeah.
How about you? How was your trip?
I was good. Went to Iowa for a few days. Got together with some family up there, and not too bad. So we had a really good time.
How's the air conditioning?
The air conditioning in this place sucks today. I've been in a ball of sweat all day.
Good for you.
Been awful.
Just a hot mess.
Yeah, absolutely. It's brutal. Brutal. So let's bring in our guest without further ado. He is the general manager of the Wichita Thunder. Been with the organization now for over 20 years, 22 years. We were talking about Joel Lomurno. Joel, thanks very much for taking the time out and joining us on the Minor League Hockey Report podcast.
My pleasure. I didn't know you guys were such happy folks. Sounds like you all had a great weekend. Schaubie's a bit of a wuss over there. Is a little tired. You're sweating. Holy cow. Well, that's okay because I got lost getting here, got stuck in the construction, passed the gas station, went through a pothole, and then credit card wouldn't work. So, I made it. So I'm right on your wavelength, ready to go.
Through the forest to Grandma's house we go.
And I got the Wi-Fi going, so we're good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good deal.
Good thing you weren't going to St. Charles because you would have taken a walking path to the arena.
Oh, I've heard some stories. I can top probably with some. There's a guy on our staff. I won't tell his name, but he went to Topeka a few years ago to see a game and ended up in Hayes. Matt Brokaw.
Oh, that's awesome.
Hayes and Topeka, if you're not familiar with geography, are about 150 miles apart.
If not further.
Just a bit outside.
Great.
So, let's get into talking about your career with the Wichita Thunder. You've had a long career in minor pro hockey. Give us a little bit about what you've done with the Wichita Thunder. You're kind of a jack of all trades with the organization.
What kind of language is this? Family friendly?
You can say whatever you want to.
You can say whatever you want. We'll
I thought you were going to say I was kind of a jackass.
No.
I mean, Zach might have said that at some point, but it's okay. Speaking of which, a little disappointing. I get here and I find out that we're on CHL podcast number 28.
Yeah.
That's great.
We've only been here 2 years.
I mean, yeah, and I've only been here, 28, right?
No, that's Malsey's fault.
Sweet.
That's Malsey's fault.
That is.
I mean, I know we had a bad year, but come on.
That's Jason Miles' fault. He's been on it 2 or 3 times, hasn't he?
Really?
Yeah.
I'm sure that was a riveting 10 minutes.
Oh, I swear it wasn't my fault.
Big save. Yeah. So.
Was there a question?
Yeah. Well, it was. I mean, but you can talk about whatever you want to talk about.
Yep.
Probably
Floor's
will.
yours.
Your career in minor pro hockey. How'd you get started into it, and how'd you get to where you're at today?
Well, obviously, interesting story. Whenever I speak to groups around town or classes at Wichita State, I usually start with that. And I guess it started when I was in high school. I grew up a Jersey boy, South Jersey. Loved football, always loved baseball. Didn't know or care a thing about hockey. Went to a private school in Philadelphia called St. Joe's Prep, which just won the Pennsylvania State Championship. Yeah.
For what sport?
Football. I'm
okay,
sorry. Yeah, very
nice.
impressive.
Nice.
Beat a school in Pittsburgh that had Lynn Swan's son on the team, so pretty impressive. They're pretty jacked of my alma mater. And anyway, I met a buddy of mine, and we became friends. And he lived in the city, and he's like, "So what are you doing on the weekend?" I was like, "I don't know. I live in Jersey. I don't do anything. I go to an all boys high school here. There's not really much to do." he's like, why don't you come over and play hockey? I mean, we play street hockey, every weekend. So, the first weekend I went over, spent the night, played street hockey the next day with all his buddies. And then, next year we're playing roller hockey on quads. Year later, junior year, we're playing inline hockey. And then by senior year of high school, we're playing ice hockey. And then, picked it up for a few years and decided to go out for the club team at LaSalle University where I went. And decided, well, I'm not a very good hockey player, but I sure wouldn't mind being the manager for the team or something. Certainly they need somebody to water boy, open the door. I don't care. I wanted to go out for the team and see what I can help. And they said, you know what? Why don't you just try out for the team? I was like, well, I'm not very good. He's like, yeah, well, we're a club team and we're short players, so just come on out. So I did. Played third line center. Did pick up one match penalty. I was pretty jacked about that. There's no fighting in college hockey, but I did manage to get ejected from a game, and I did manage to score 2 goals. Kind of a sad career. The first goal I scored, really nice goal, went hard to the net. I mean, hard for a guy that doesn't a very good skater. Got the rebound off the goalie, jammed it in the open net. Go to the intermission up 1-0. Zamboni breaks down on the ice. Game canceled. Goal doesn't count. But in my career, I say that I score. So that's funny. The second goal I scored, and only goal I scored, and this was my junior year of college. For some reason, the coach put me out there in a tie game with 5 seconds left at the Wagner Seagulls up in New York, and won the faceoff back to the point. It hit something in front. And went in and we won the game with like a second left. And the guys in the district pointed, hey, Lomurno scored it. Lomurno, goal Lomurno. So I actually have the article from the LaSalle newspaper calling him my game-winning goal. Nice. So, I mean, I had 2 goals. I think I had 2 assists, and I don't remember, like 20, 30 PIMs for not bad for a third-line guy that played maybe 2 shifts a period. So that's how I got into hockey. And then I was really enjoyed hockey, and I always enjoyed writing, and I was a journalism major, and I sent my resume to every hockey team in the country. And my choices were Wheeling, West Virginia, Huntsville, Alabama, or Wichita, Kansas. I chose at Wichita, Kansas. I'd loaded everything up in my Camaro, my brand new cool Camaro with the T-tops, had the mullet going. And everything I owned piled into that car.
You should bring back the mullet.
Talked about it. Wife's not real keen on it.
I'm
going with the mutton chops.
You fit right into Wichita, that area.
Going. Yeah. Oh, I fit right in. I remember rolling into town in my Camaro T-tops, and the chick's waving at me. I was like, this is pretty awesome. And I was a dork, man. I was a dork. I.e., see pictures online somewhere. Maybe I'll post one on, what is that called? Selfie Thursday or something?
Selfie Thursday.
What's it called?
Throwback Thursday.
Yeah, one of those. I'll throw a selfie up back.
What made you choose Wichita over the other 2 cities?
That's a great question. The Wheeling, West Virginia guy was a little wishy-washy. In Alabama, I'll make it easy for you. I had a physical one-on-one interview for the job in Wichita with a guy, Phil Bloom, the first PR director of the team, who was from the Harrisburg, Pennsylvania area. So I drove from my house in South Jersey about 2 hours out for an interview, and worked out. So that's why I picked Wichita, Kansas. And for you kids out there, and it's hard to find these days, but I picked. I drove out here, like I said, with nothing, and worked for free for a year as an unpaid intern. You're not going to find unpaid interns these days. Actually, I shouldn't say it because we got one. I think Brittany working in our office now. Yeah. But you know what I mean. People want. Well, sure, I'll be an intern. How much does it pay? It doesn't pay anything. When I was in college, I had an internship at a TV station. Didn't pay a thing, but it was the best internship, best job I ever had. Worked at NFL Films. Little known fact about me for a year. I produced the show Inside the NFL, which is on what now? Showtime. Yeah. I worked. Worked down there. Boy, I'm really going off on tangents. You want me to stop so you can ask you questions? I worked at NFL Films. It was a great year. I didn't move to Wichita until a year after I graduated school. And for the year after I graduated, I got a job at NFL Films, which is in my hometown of Morristown, New Jersey. Nice. There's 2 shifts, little known fact, to put that show together. In order to get it done for airing on Tuesday or Wednesday, as soon as the game ends, all of the film is put on a plane. Someone's job is to go pick up all the film at the plane. So the early games end at noon. If you got a game that ends at noon in New York, the film's there by 6 p.m. Or actually till 1 o'clock game East Coast time. So the film starts rolling in around the clock. You got your late games, your night game, your Monday night game, which comes in not till Tuesday and is last. But instantly that that show has started to be made, and there's 2 shifts: 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Sunday night to Monday morning, and 6 p.m. Sunday night to 6 a.m. Monday morning, and 6 a.m. Monday morning to 6 p.m. Monday night. And I had the 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday shift, and good pay. I mean, we're talking 1992. I was making $10 an hour with a catered breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Hung out with Charlie Steiner, Ron Jaworski, Steve Sable, God rest his soul, and a lot of good peeps I met out there. So that was a really fun job, and
not
easy
to name
money.
drop people though, right?
Exactly. And I got a lot of videotapes that I really don't have a use for anymore because we didn't really know VHS players, whatever you call them.
Yeah, the next question was to explain film to the kids out there because
they still use it. They still use it.
So when you got involved with the Thunder, though, you took a large progression in your career from going to an intern to being a general manager. Who do you credit with being the person to really give you that big jump?
Well, I don't know. I think it was a lot of BS. Mostly, I was really kissed a lot. No, seriously. Well, it was a right situation. I mean, the progression being, the first 2 years, the first year as an intern, we won the championship. That was my first year. Was the second year of the team. We won the championship. The second year was my first year. I was an account executive when we won the championship. I always wanted to be in PR. I came here, got into hockey, wanting to be in public relations, and I got the job and in ticket sales, and then I got promoted to PR. As they gave me the job, they knew I wanted it, and I think I'd proved myself. And one day Bill Shuck comes into me a year later, and he's like, "You want to do the radio broadcast?" I said, "Okay." So, true story. Didn't really know what I was doing, but I got the equipment. I learned how to set it up, and I literally pooped my pants, I guess would say, on the bus ride to Tulsa that night. No, I didn't literally poop. No, I'm not saying I pooped.
Literally or
I was just
figuratively.
I was using the proper word, so I didn't use a different word. I was nervous, needless to say, and I struggled through the first period. And after that, I was like, man, this is pretty cool. This is pretty awesome. And then, 5 years, a couple suspensions, some FCC fines, and later.
Did any of that have to do with Tulsa, Oklahoma?
Well, both actually. One was Tulsa, and one was Oklahoma City. A couple incidents, but I did, and I learned my lesson. Though you learn a hard lesson. The things that people do and get away with these days.
What was your first year you did radio?
Oh, boy. I would say 99.
Okay.
It wasn't the 97-98 season, which was the year that we beat Oak City in Game 7.
Bob Renison was
correct.
That would have been nice.
I'm a very nervous, superstitious person. I was at the Myriad, as we called it back then. I was Bob Renison, so you know where he sat? You guys familiar? He was sat at center ice there.
Yeah.
I was all the way at the top, all the way behind him, and I just remember when we scored. And there were 13,474, I think is what the building held. I could be off by a few. I ran down the aisle screaming, "Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God." So jacked when we scored that goal. Jim Magoo off the assist from Jason Duda in overtime. I can tell you everything that happened in that game. I can tell you who got ejected, who scored, the score progression of what the score went to. I can tell you the goal that was disallowed that would have put us up 4-0 before they came back and took the lead on us. But it was wild, and I think the next year Bob Renison wanted to get back, and that's when Topeka came into the league in 98, 99, and he wanted to go there, so the reins got passed. But, I learned a lot from a lot of people. Bill Shuck, our first GM, Phil Bloom, my first PR director, David Holt, who was a GM here, Chris Preston, who was a GM here, Jeff Lund, who I worked under a lot of people. I learned a lot at league meetings, sitting in league meetings. Now, this is something I go by today. The first few years, I used to go there and I used to sit in those league meetings, so intimidated. And, these big wigs and big owners are running the show and they know what's best for the league. So I'm going to sit there and be quiet. Well, you know what? A lot of those guys that were running the meetings aren't around anymore. And, we've done a pretty darn good job to be here for what I think going into our 23rd season now. So, I think that we've done a good enough job here that we deserve some say so. And, I've got I wear it. I'm not a closed book. I don't sugarcoat things. So, I try and do everything I can to help this team be successful. And obviously have a good cast and a great owner, great owners and great coaches and great fans. It's a great opportunity. And, it was a down year last year, but big things expected this season.
What is your best moment with the organization so far?
Best moment with the organization so far? Boy, it was so long ago. It's hard to top it, but, winning the championships, the first championship was pretty cool in Tulsa, and I remember it, and I have a lot of pictures from the locker room celebration, which I'm in some of them with that mullet, but and my white jeans. I had white jeans. Also had the Reeboks black high tops with the pants rolled up. I got all the good stuff. But the second championship was awesome, and I'll tell you why, and I'll tell you the story. We all drove down there as a staff to play. Well, it was a 2-3-2 series, so we gone down there 2-0. We lost Game 3. We won Game 4. We had a chance to clinch the series. Game 5, Easter Sunday, we got blown out. So we had to drive back home from San Antonio. I believe it's a 12-hour drive to be in work by Monday morning to open the office at 9. And I think we drove through the night, 3 or 4 of us, and got back at 8. Jeez. Enough time to maybe change. I don't even remember that part. But we got into the office. Tickets went on sale for Game 6. We were in the office till 9 p.m. that night, running credit cards the old way, where you had to put the credit card on with the what's that stuff? The carbon copy, and click it through and write everything handwritten. You had to write everything on it. Anyway, it took us till 9 o'clock that night to run all the orders. Needless to say, between Monday morning at 9 o'clock and 7 o'clock on Tuesday, Game 6, we sold 8,320 tickets for that game. And that place was rocking. We blew it open in the second period and went away and won that. So that was huge. Shortest version, going to Oak City and winning that Game 7 was awesome. Beating Shreveport in Game 7 overtime was even more awesome.
Scott Allison's overtime goal.
34 seconds, and I have the game sheet, the little slip of paper that they hand you with the goal, assist time that they handed us on the breast, because I was color commentating that day with
Malsey.
Was it Malsey?
Yeah.
And so I have that. It's in my drawer in my office. 19 from it was a defenseman that passed up.
Kyle Colasar?
Well, Mark Colasar, but that was a
Mark
different
Colasar,
year. Mark Colasar and Scott Allison did not
maybe?
play on different
Chad
years.
Mazurek, maybe?
No, it was it was Kelly Sakavish, I believe.
Oh, yes.
And the Wichita Thunder, as I
50s
watched that video, which is not
19
available on YouTube.
19 from 56.
There was another assist, too. The video is not on YouTube, but it is on one of the old Thunder DVDs.
Uh-huh.
And holy cow, did we tackle a guy to free that puck up to Allison. It should have been a penalty when I've watched it. Yeah, we got along with it. It was nothing better than the deafening silence of that. But I'm going to take this story further. We had a fan bus that went down to that trip, which I rode on the fan bus. And all the players' wives and girlfriends were on it. And as we were leaving, all jacked, we went to the liquor store. We got alcohol. No, we did. We got liquor store to celebrate the drive home.
Of course.
Which was about a 8 to 9 hour drive. Yeah. The bus broke down in the parking lot of the arena, and we never made it out until 4, 5 in the morning. We had we got a bus from a junkyard that it smelled so bad, and it was a seated bus. And we left at about 6 in the morning, and we got back to Wichita mid-afternoon just in time for me, again, to go home, change, and then I had to get on the bus to go to Colorado to start the next series. And I went from one bus to the next bus, and actually ran into a snowstorm we had in Colorado, and it was late, mid-April, and ran into that. So, yeah, lots of stories. I mean, I go off on tangents, and all my stories lead to other stories, so, you know. There you have it. That's 20 minutes and only 2 questions, right?
That's right. Worst moment. We're on a terrific breakneck pace here. Worst moment with the organization, and it doesn't have to be the FCC fines. And
no,
stuff
I
like
mean
that.
I've said some, and I alluded to that point. Everyone makes mistakes, but boy, the stuff I did, which I'm not going to talk about, but I've said some things on the air, that I shouldn't have said, and I had to apologize. One was to Doug Sauter, and I had to apologize to him in public. I mean, in person, excuse me, for things that I said about him and his organization, and but like I said, the things that people do, Ray Rice, for example, and just a random one that's recent, and punching your wife in the elevator. But you know what? No one. Who cares? Everyone's going to go buy his jersey and go see him and cheer him when he scores touchdowns. It's just the things and this is my advice to the kids. If you're ever out there and you do something terrible, awful, embarrassing, it's gonna pass. You will recover from it. Just remember that. I've learned. I've been in the dumps a few times, and I've moved on. But worst moment, I'd have to say, and I think y'all know where I'm going. Go ahead. Someone tell me, what was it?
The 9-1 season?
No. Game 7 in Allen.
Game 7 in Allen.
We were so jacked. There were so many fans. Were any of you there?
Yes,
I was
all three were.
Oh my God!
All three,
What,
all three
500-600 fans there.
Interesting note. Zach and I were just getting the site going. We were going to be in the locker room in either instance.
Yeah, and we had to cover the game for Allen pretty much after it was over.
Yeah, so that was rough. I mean, 2-0 going into the third, 2-1 with 10 minutes left.
That
got so close.
That goal by Flath just to me I thought it was over.
I had the perfect angle of that goal because I was right behind the Thunder bench.
Oh, the wrist shot from the blue line?
No, it was a slap shot.
Yeah, he slapped it.
Paincho dropped. Yeah,
Whatever.
Paincho just dropped it to him. Slap shot. Oh my god.
How about 2-1 with 3 minutes left and Les Rainey on the doorstep with the open net, and he couldn't lift the puck or get it between the pad and the post, and and then they score, and then the numbness that set in with the loss. I will not afraid to admit I probably shed 15 seconds worth of tears. So that was rough because then because we were so excited Friday night going down there, and then we woke up early and we drove down, got there for the game, and then game over. Yep. Go from party mode to have to drive home. So that was rough, and now every time someone loses and like that, I say, well, I know what it's like, but then there's teams that lose worse. Like the Bruins last year, losing that one.
Yeah.
With 2 goals in the last minute to the Blackhawks to lose a series. I mean,
I would think that losing a Game 7 in overtime is worse than that.
Well, we're not the first team to do it.
Yeah. No. Let's talk about the Thunder. You've been the general manager for quite a number of years, and the
5 or 6.
The 9-win season did fall at the beginning of your tenure as Thunder general manager. Talk about that season from start to finish and the process that you went into landing Kevin McClelland in Wichita.
Well, I went through – that was a rough season, and, I met my wife at the very beginning of that season. My wife, who became my wife, I met her right in October, right when that season started. And so obviously I was more focused on her than the team, and that's pretty much how it went. Okay. No, so she didn't know anything.
That usually happens.
She didn't know anything about hockey at the time, but boy, we started the season – a long talk with Brent Bilodeau, coming off his first year. And I guess backtracking, the year before when Chris Preston left in June, we had just started the Wingnuts. It was our first ever season of the Wingnuts, and then the GM leaves. We're starting a baseball team, and we have no hockey coach. So the fans had been clamoring for a month. We need a coach. So I said, well, I'm not going to sit around and drag this on for another month. So I said, I'm going to make a decision, and I'm going to get a coach signed here within a week. Well, another crazy known fact is the day that Preston left, I get a call from Brent Bilodeau. Hey, and I said, told someone, hey, well, there's a lot going on today. Obviously, just tell him I'll call him back. I said, no, you don't understand. He's at the Wichita airport. He had been flown in for an interview that day, and no one knew. So I was like, okay, tell him that the new acting interim general manager will be picking him up at the airport in 10 minutes. And that's how it started, and I had a long interview with him, and right on the spot. First day, no questions prepared, nothing. Threw it together, talked to him for the day. He was staying the night, too, so then the second day interview. And then I knew Kevin Kaminsky was the other candidate. There were 3 candidates. Bruce Ramsey was actually one I was looking at, but he wasn't really available, so Kevin Kaminsky. And what it came down to was, truth be told, came down to money. Trying to get in a young, hungry coach as opposed to an older coach. It came down to money, and obviously we know the team was run 5-6 years ago. Money was a big issue, but still, this guy, Brent Bilodeau, was highly recommended. We were waiting for him, literally. The reason he came that day was because we were waiting for him to finish his playoffs in the East Coast League with Las Vegas. They had just lost in the championship, I believe, and he had just become available, so it was the timing, and I knew he was a candidate that was being looked at initially anyway, so we went with him. Anyway, his first year was a struggle. Second year, man, we start the season slow again, and I met with him before the season, and I met with him after opening weekend, and I was like, where's the tough guy? Where's the offensive defenseman? I mean, we were lacking in areas, and then a couple days later, some of the players came to me, and I was already thinking about it. I was like, boy, this can't go on. I mean, we can't go through another season. I can't go through another season, especially as GM like this. I said I wanted, after a week, I was already ready to throw in the towel. My boss, who would be Jeff Lund at the time, he was overseeing things with the quick change. Like, now you got to give it a week. And then a week later, I was like, it's killing me. We got to do something earlier. The season's over. And then after 3 weeks, and I think it took 3 weeks, maybe 4, it was the first or second week in November that it happened. Finally, it was like, we got to do something. We're 2-7. We have just scored 2 goals in our last 4 games. There's no hope. There is no hope. There really isn't. We've got to make a move. And I mean, let's be honest, 95% of the times a coaching change midseason does nothing. But I figured it was better to do it in October or November when it was salvageable than do it in January when, okay, great, you're 10-20. All you're doing this way is adding another salary because, coaches under contract, you keep paying them. It's the way it goes. So, it worked out that way with Jason Duda, and, it's not the ideal situation, but we went into that brand new arena, one day off a 22-game losing streak. Yippee. But I was jacked. For that opening day, and I'm at the arena, and it was the most tickets we ever sold for a game. It was packed. It was awesome. I'm sure you guys were all there.
It was a great atmosphere.
I may or may not have put some money out there for fights. I may or may
There was a
not.
rumor about the first fight of the game.
May or may not have put some money out there for goals and assists too. Apparently that didn't work out since we scored
I'm
one.
just glad that Paul Kelly scored the first goal.
He did the first and only goal.
Yes.
And I said, guys, I mean, that's fate. Be honest. I knew that we were not an offensive team. I knew we were not a good team. I mean, just facts. I'm not putting anyone down. We were struggling. I knew we were coming off a game in Tulsa the night before where there were, I believe, 8 or 9 fights. The sad part is that McAllister and the guy he fought,
Rick Kozak
from Laredo, former Laredo player, both got hurt in that fight, and neither played that next night, which really threw me off. I was like, guys, I know. I mean, I didn't say it's a team, but I knew that. And Duda knew as coach, it's like, we can't go out there and lay an egg in front of 13,000 people. We cannot lose 4-0 and have no fights. We cannot. And I don't care if it's show or if some of it might have been planned a little, but that's not happening. So I just simply said, look, guys, I would love to have a fight on the opening face-off. Would love to have one. And feel free, guys, go out there and I have immunity now from doing anything under the table back then. So I did. I wanted to make sure it was a show, and it was a show, and it was a great game, and there was a lot of fights. I know the opening face-off fight was awful. I think our guy got in 0 punches.
Yeah.
Who was the opening? Was that Beauchamp?
I think so.
Nope. It was a guy that came from the Nope. It was a guy that came from the Colorado Eagles.
Oh, Shane.
I'm usually
it's coming to me.
You'll get it.
Shane
Look
Walker.
at the roster from
I'm looking at it.
Look at the roster
quick
from
story though.
His number was 61, I think.
Possible.
That 22-game losing streak that we'd won the night before in Tulsa. Jason and I were actually at the penalty box.
And you were there.
I was there.
You were about as
jacked,
psyched as I've ever seen you.
I remember exactly where I was sitting. The alumni were there because we had brought in a lot of alumni. Brent Sapersia was there. To entertain. I mean, we went all out for that game.
Bob Berg did not lay off the cheeseburgers.
He was there. Yeah.
Yeah. Jason and I were there while you were.
So
you were having a good time. Yeah.
It was. I was happy. I was happy to win. And
no, but Bria did fight in that game. I think Beauchamp did too. And then
there are a lot of fights.
I can't remember who the first kid was.
Not a lot of heavyweight.
Stand by. I'm looking.
I am
I'm
too.
digging.
I got the roster up right now.
His name was
That's the ones that we finished with.
Shane Foster.
Was it Shane Foster?
It was Shane Foster.
He didn't finish the season. He was hurt.
And but he played that game, and Joe DeBello took his number.
You can probably pull up that box score, but anyway.
Yeah.
So that was a rough spot after the season. The worst part, not only that little known fact for you people, we played 13 games at home at the new arena that year. We won 1. Mm-hmm. Who do we beat? What was the score?
I already know.
Go ahead.
It was on Midian Shrine night because Kazarich was wearing.
It was against the defending champion Texas Brahmas 1-0.
Right.
And the goal was scored by. You should know, since you just said his name 10 times, apparently you have a man crush on him.
J.R. Bria.
Beauchamp.
No, that was me. That was me.
And it was a dump-in from center ice.
I remember that.
That the goalie hit with his stick. It rolled up his arm and down his back and in. And Jason Duda, our interim coach at the time, was nice enough to give me that game puck. So I do have that game puck in my office on my shelf. So that was nice. It got the fans off me for one day, but because I've told people, forget what you GM, owner, player, coach, New Jersey, Philadelphia, California, Wichita, you're going to get abused. You're going to get more abuse than praise. You're not going to get a lot of praise or credit when the team wins, but you're going to get a lot of abuse when the team loses. And I got a lot of hate mail that year. A lot of hate mail.
I will publicly apologize for my hate mail.
I don't remember yours specifically, but I can tell you that there are 2 or 3 people that sent me a lot of hate mail, and now we're Facebook friends, and you guys come to the game because obviously things turned around real fast.
Yeah.
After that,
That goal was actually Brent Ottman, by the way.
Brent Ottman.
Dang it, I was wrong, but it was number 44.
It was Ottman. From Bozian, and then Kazaric had the assist.
Boy.
Nice. So talk about that turnaround.
Well, what happened? Yeah, because I didn't even answer your original question.
Yeah.
It was right before it was December, and I was at the Coliseum and was standing in the tunnel for another beating from the Colorado Eagles that was going to come up. Kevin McClelland walks up to me, and I always feared him. He always had the look of the devil, I always said.
Yeah.
I always said that before I knew him in his eye. And it's like, hey, I know you'll be you might be looking for a coach after the season. I just want you to know that this is my last year of contract in Colorado, and left it at that. That was it. And I think he wanted me to know that it was possible and that he might be looking for a change, or he might not be brought back, or didn't know what. But I put it in the back of my head, and I was pretty jacked from that moment forward. And I made it a mission to get him hired. I mean, I remember too the fans thing, because I know how fans are. I'm the same way, and I'll use the Bengals as an example. I'm the most vicious Bengal fan. I curse out Marvin Lewis, the Bengals head coach, all the time, so I can understand fans' frustration. But you can't always remember this. You can't. What you're reading isn't always what's going on. Kevin McClelland's flying in for an interview. I remember the newspaper articles. Kevin McClelland's flying in for an interview, and then 2 days later, it's like, why isn't Kevin McClelland signed? What is Joel doing? What an idiot! How did he not sign him to a contract? Okay,
so talk about that. What is the process that you went through to get Kevin McClelland to sign in Wichita?
Well, once the playoffs were over with Colorado had lost, I believe, to Shreveport that year. I believe I got a preliminary call from his agent that just wanted to let me know that he was still interested. And truth be told, because people were like, well, what is he waiting for? I know what I was waiting for. That's what we were waiting for. I wanted to make sure Kevin McClelland was interested and was going to be available. So, his agent gave me a call, and, then it came down to, well, when can we get Kevin into town? And then, guys don't come into town and you don't have a piece of paper already typed up. It says, here you go. Okay, well, here you go. Let's go to dinner. You talked about it. I mean, his wife and my wife, that wasn't my wife at the time, but we went out to dinner at the Scotch and Sterling. We had a great, great talk, and we had a verbal, I think we left that meeting with a verbal commitment, let's say. Well, he still had to go back to Colorado, settle up some things, finish up some things there, and give them notice and all that. So, these things don't happen. We had to wait for a lot of things to fall in place. We still had to type up the contract. The contract had to be approved by him. We had to make changes. Had to go through his agent. Had to be approved by legal. It's got to be written up in a legal way. It's got to be filed with the league. And then, even when that's done, you don't just have a press conference and a minute later. You got to find a time and a place for it. So, obviously it took another 2 weeks, I think. But, it's like, and I'm sure we'll get to it, it's like the Allen Americans. I think, our owners bought the Allen Americans, pretty much the day after they won the championship. Well, they didn't win the championship, and then Rodney decided, well, they won the championship, I'm going to buy this team. They had some things going on down there, and, that was a whole other situation I'm sure you guys are going to want to talk about. We'll talk about that later. So, that's how it worked out, and I was jacked. I got Kevin, to agree to come, and, the first year was tremendous. We should have beat Missouri in that first round. I know we were up 2-1 with a home game and outshot them, I think, badly in Game 4 and just couldn't get it. And then Game 5, oh, my God, we're down 5-2 going into the third and score 3 goals and tie it and then lose on a crazy rebound with about 4 or 5 minutes left. And then I remember we had the power play and the goalie pulled in the last minute and came so close. And so that was a rough way to end. But obviously the next 2 years were pretty darn good when the ownership change happened, and we move on from there.
What happened on the ice last season with the team? Down year, Kevin McClelland hadn't been through that kind of a year as a coach. Was it just bound to happen for the Thunder, or was it just a bunch of bad luck from the start?
That's a tough question to answer. Obviously, we did everything we could to put a winning team on the ice. Boy, it's a tough question to answer, really, as they throwing me out there. I mean, say you're throwing me on the spot. I've been sitting here for 30 minutes. But, there's some, we really did a nice job of trying to build a team, for the best we could. And, again, we fell short a little bit. But truth be told, the biggest problem it goes back to is the first month of the season. We lost. We thought we had a pretty good team. We were pretty jacked. I know Coach was really jacked about the defense right at the beginning of the year. When you start the season with Mike Wilson, and Hostetter, a prospect, and you got Martins back, and who else did we have back?
What are you talking about? Like
John Madden was
Madden.
back.
We had 3 guys back from the
Whitey.
And Whitey.
I mean, signed Dudas.
And Dudas. I mean, we thought our defense was going to be phenomenal, and we had Torrey Junk come back. So we were pretty excited about that, coming off of just missing the finals. And the offense, we thought we had some good pieces with John Boris added in. And then what happens the first 2 weeks of the season, Summers out for a month, separated shoulder. Lowe pulled his groin, I believe, and was out for a month. Martins broke his hand, was out for a week or so. We went through a really tough spate of injuries and really put us behind the 8 ball. I mean, I think at one point we were 2, and let's pretend we add losses and shootout losses together, say we're 2-14 maybe.
Yeah.
I think we're 2-11-3.
Hofstetter only played 19 games for you guys.
And then a month later we were at 500, and we got to 500 3, 4, 5 times, and we never got over that hump. So a few combination of a few things. So
I have one quick question for you. One of the things that we've always appreciated, since we all are from Wichita, is Kevin McClelland's ability to pick up players mid-season, and he seems to find diamonds in the rough. And even guys like Jarkko Leppänen may not have put up a lot of points, but he over 16 games he was only a -1. You look at guys like Hofstetter and stuff like that. What does that say as you look at him from your position as a coach, that he can bring in guys like that mid-season and really boost a team?
Well, it's real simple. The bottom line is that in the time that I've been GM or not been GM, I've either myself or seen the other GM have to get involved a little bit with player moves and whatnot. And, at this level, mostly the job of the coach is to recruit and coach the team, and the job of the GM is to, sell tickets and put on a game production. So, coach doesn't usually come in and tell me how to sell tickets, and I'll usually tell him, well, you need to change your lines up. But we have a pretty good understanding with each other. We talk to each other about things, We always run stuff by each other. But, the one thing about it is, what I was pointing I was getting to, is I don't really have to go in there and say, hey, coach, well, we're not really tough. Can we go out and get us a tough guy? Or, boy, our centers, we've been losing all a bunch of faceoffs. You need to go out and get a center. That kind of stuff doesn't happen. So the point being that he knows what we need. He knows what we've got going on, and he knows where we need to make changes. And for better or not, didn't obviously last year some of the changes we made didn't get us over that hump, but he knows where to find the talent, and we've no question we've got really good. Andrew Martins is hands down the best defenseman in this league, year after year. Like him, don't like him. I don't. I think he's phenomenal.
I would agree.
He plays. Some people might say, "Oh, well, he was minus tonight, or he made a mistake." But you know what? When you play 30 to 40 minutes a game, you make a mistake, it might get more noticed.
Yeah.
But that guy, whenever he's out on the ice, I feel comfortable and confident that we've got a chance to score a goal. Plus, he plays good defense. Plus, he hustles so hard. That guy, he is phenomenal. He is a phenomenal player, and give him his due. And then you have guys like Lowe. I think Lowe is the hardest working guy in the league.
Yeah.
And he's the best penalty killer in the league. Flath, boy, when he is on, he is deadly on offense. And Summers, great guy. A community guy. People love him on off the ice. He's tremendous at helping out in the community, and we got a good base. Again, all those guys missed significant time, and I think I even forgot at that time when Summers, Lowe, and Martins were all out. Flath got a suspension that same time last year. He got suspended the third game of the season for 2 or 3 games.
And then Madden missed time with an ulcer.
So we were a mess the first month of the season, and just didn't recuperate. But no, coach does a great job, and we're real confident in this season that we're gonna have a great team on the ice. Coach,
cool.
Coach is building the team. Like I said, the goal obviously is to win a championship, and Martin, Summers, Flath, those guys, are in the fold. I think we don't necessarily have. I don't know if we even necessarily have anyone signed to a contract per se. Well, we usually wait until after the championship to announce players anyway. But I think I could probably see us announcing some guys in the next couple of weeks. I know the goal would be to be the toughest team in the league, or at least have the toughest players on the ice, which we did last year. Didn't get to utilize them, but the plan would be to have the toughness again, and certainly be one of the more physical teams in the league. Obviously, we have a good base, assuming that those 4 guys come back, but. Coach will surprise me here in a month, 2 months, and let me know some of the guys he's got coming in, or the guys he's talking to in Europe, or hot young guys that his agent's throwing our way. It's close. It's not a hot recruiting time right now because the American Hockey League's still in the Final Four, and the East Coast League just finished the semifinals last night, so their finals aren't open for another 2 weeks too. So you're not going to get guys, especially new guys, signing with a team not just the CHL, East Coast League as well. Guys aren't signing anywhere. They'll wait till the CHL, the ECHL, the AHL, the NHL are all done. Mid-June, it'll start to heat up, and guys that have finished this year will decide, do I want to come back to the East Coast League? Do I want to go to Europe? Do I want to get out of here? Is there too many assigned guys from the Pittsburgh Penguins on my roster that I'm losing playing time, and I'd be better off in the CHL? So those are the type of things. So not a big recruiting time at the end of May. I mean, the CHL season's only a week and a half old, 2 weeks maybe, a week and a half. I don't know. Close, 2 weeks anyway. So that'll pick up here in another month or so. Have you had Kevin McClelland on?
We had him for an interview last season. He was very gracious.
Last season, this past season.
This past
okay,
season.
gotcha.
We'll switch gears and go from the Thunder to the broader to the CHL, because you do work with the owners who now own the Allen Americans, Tulsa Oilers, and Wichita Thunder, and a controlling part of the league. How did the sale of the Allen Americans come about?
Well, as always, there's interesting questions, and this isn't going away. When the controlling owners purchased the league last summer, all of the owners bought into a share of the league other than Rapid City and Allen. So, those are the two teams that did not have a share of the league. So, I think part of it would be that the fact that our owner would like, our owners would like all of the owners to be equally involved, and that wasn't something that was happening. I know, obviously heard the rumors 2 years ago or a year ago that Allen and Rapid were considering going to the East Coast League, and obviously that never transpired. But, basically what it came down to, say 4 or 5 months ago, is that the owner of the Allen Americans, I think, was trying to get out of the hockey business. And, the best way to keep the Allen Americans in the CHL was for the owners of one of the owners of the league to get involved with that. And they're a successful team. There's no question about that. They're obviously very good on the ice and have a good coach down there, and they draw well. So for our owner, it seemed like a no-brainer. Now, was it his idea from the start? I sure would. When the Thunder lost to the Allen Americans in the finals this year, did he say to himself, "Boy, I sure would like to own Allen"? No. That's nothing to do with it. It's the simple fact that Allen was kind of in the market for a new owner, and this works out best for the league. Is it keeps the Allen Americans in the Central Hockey League, much like Tulsa. The same situation came about, much like Wichita. I mean, if we go all the way back, it's about growing this league, keeping this league stable, and making sure this league has a future. Because obviously the last year or two has been some questions out there, and people wondering what's going on. Obviously, the teams have shrunk a little bit, and we've lost some of our big teams and big rivals. But the plan is to get all the owners on the same page, and to grow this league. And if we don't reach 10, 12 teams this year, it's the goal for next year. Doesn't mean there's lack of trying.
Will the Stephen Brother ownership of the Allen Americans be temporary? Are they looking for local ownership down there?
Well, you never know what's going to happen, but no, I mean, they bought the team to keep it in the league and to grow it, and they feel like that this is a business that they can improve even better. When I say improve, obviously the on-ice product doesn't need much, but the off-ice product, we feel like we can make some changes down there. I mean, their budget is something that probably needs to be addressed, and I will be helping address that over the next couple of days, as obviously being involved with the Wichita Thunder for now 3 years under the Stevens. When they purchase a new team, it's it's part of my responsibility to help them the team get adjusted to the new policies and whatnot. So their goal is to keep Allen a stable franchise in this league. That is their goal, much like Tulsa, much like Wichita. That is their goal, to grow the team, to keep it in this league, and make sure it's successful.
Does it concern you overall that the league is down to 9 teams with St. Charles folding, or is the 9 teams just an arbitrary number?
It's an arbitrary number because you always, do you want 20 teams where 10 of them aren't healthy, or 9 teams that are doing pretty well, and maybe our 9 teams aren't doing doing great all individually, but right now there are 9 solid owners in the league, 9 solid owners that are committed to this league and being on the same page and doing things together as a team. So my only concern with there being 9 teams is the fact that there's 9 teams and not 8 or 10. Because 9-team schedule makes things a little tougher on everyone and makes one team have to sit home on a Friday or a Saturday and not play. It's nothing set in stone. Obviously, the schedule's not out yet, but is there a possibility of a 10th team could come in? Sure, not dead yet. I mean, it's really cutting it close, but could St. Charles still be in? Possible. I know there's an article came out about Casper. I know they're really wanting to get in there. I don't think it's going to happen in time for this year, but certainly for next year. I can't even speak about it, but there's so many other cities out there that this league is looking at. And, the goal, regardless of whether we have 6 teams, 10 teams, or 20 teams, is to make sure that whatever amount of teams we have, they're successful and work together as a team.
Well, I think the thing that the fans of the Central Hockey League can take solace in is the fact that the league is looking way more franchises than even those that have been brought up publicly.
Oh boy, there's 8 to 10 of them out there.
It's great.
But you know what? I'll use this forum as a chance to defend the Central Hockey League because I read boards. One I read is Hockey's Future. I don't know if you ever read that, hfboards.com. And boy, they sure love to talk about the death of the CHL and love to talk about how awesome the East Coast League is. Well, when was the last time the CHL had a team fold mid-season?
True.
The Fresno a few years ago in the East Coast League folds mid-season.
Yeah.
San Francisco this year folds mid-season. Las Vegas fold. I mean, just because we had a team fold, they had a team fold. I mean, Las Vegas folded, we had a team fold. St. Charles, per se. I mean, I don't think it's been official, but and obviously there's a lot of rumors going out there with where the East Coast League and the AHL are going to be in 1 year from now. A lot of rumors that the NHL. I mean, not even a rumor. You can go read it anywhere you want on our Sports Central under AHL. That the Kings, the Sharks, the Ducks, the Oilers, the Coyotes, and the Canucks want their AHL farm team on the West Coast.
So do you see those potential grounds as building spots for the CHL? Do you see the CHL going back to Oklahoma City in 2 or 3 years?
Oh, with me saying this, absolutely. If I mean the rumors out there are that Stockton and I believe Ontario and Bakersfield, which Edmonton bought Bakersfield, everyone thinks that they bought Bakersfield to move them to the AHL. So it's not going to be this year, but next season, if they move Bakersfield to the AHL, that gets rid of Oklahoma City. And sure, this league would be in there in a heartbeat. Trust me, it's on the radar. Whether it was anything we can work on now, per se, no, but certainly. But if Bakersfield and Stockton and Oklahoma City, Bakersfield, Stockton, Ontario, all go to the AHL next year, let's pretend that the East Coast League's left with Utah, Colorado, and Idaho out here by themselves. I mean, then what? Are they going to stay out there and play themselves? Are they going to play each other 67 times?
The Rocky Mountain League.
So, I mean, and is Utah going to want to fly to have to, I'll let you play Colorado 10 and Alaska 10, you play Idaho 10, but you need to fly to Cincinnati, Fort Wayne, and Orlando, Florida for your other games. So This is me speculating, but also, loosely based on some things that I've heard and people I've talked to. I mean, most people in the hockey world believe that after this 2014-15 season, the AHL will start a West Coast division. And that means that the East Coast League will lose some teams. The AHL will lose some teams. I mean, the AHL is going to lose teams in New Hampshire. I mean, the Manchester Monarchs at New Hampshire have already pretty much said that they're moving to the West Coast next year. They signed a 1-year deal with their building because of that reason.
Yep.
Right. So,
okay, we got a team in Brampton, Ohio. Why wouldn't we put a team in Manchester, New Hampshire? Not far away. What if there's a team in New York? I can't remember which one, but there's a team in New York.
Utica? The Comets? That's the Vancouver affiliate.
I can't remember. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Or the Adirondack.
Well, Adirondack is staying.
Phantoms, but they're moving.
They have who's the Phantoms? Who's the Adirondacks' new team this year?
It's going to be the Flames. Like I think you said.
I'm not quite sure who. It is Calgary. I believe it is Calgary.
Because Abbotsford is moving to.
Well, let's pretend maybe Adirondack wants to move to this. So there's going to be cities that are now in our footprint that could fit in there. And again, don't quote me as an official source for the Central Hockey League. I mean, I'm just using common sense and based on a little bit of speculation, some rumor, a little bit of fact, a little bit of talks that there's going to be a movement in hockey in the next year and a half. And what if the AHL goes up to 30 teams and the CHL's at 11 and the East Coast League's at 14, but our teams are here, and here, and the East Coast League teams are here, and here? Who knows? I'm not saying that the two leagues ever talked about it, but I mean, most people in the hockey world think that the two leagues should get together. I'm not saying one way or the other, but who knows?
Do you believe that there will be a time where there'll be a AAA 30-team league, AA 30-team league, single A 30-team league?
That is just
like the minor league.
That's just rumor. That's one thing that, and I again just quoting things I read on boards, and when I say it, the HF boards. I don't know anybody in the HF boards, and those people sure think they know everything. I thought 146 times about I'm going to get to a point.
Okay.
146 times I thought about starting putting a name on there so I could just say, I heard from a good source that this is the last year for the CHL. Really?
Well, no.
Who's your good source?
No. The reason why I ask that is because you have so many leagues. You have the SP, you have the ECHL, you have the CHL, you have the American Hockey League. Is there at some point the consolidation would need to happen? Do you believe that would happen sooner rather than later?
Skip the single A part because that would not even be anything to consider. The NHL. Is big on the 30-30 with the AHL. I don't know how true it is, but some people have told me that the AA portion is not necessarily that important to the NHL.
Okay,
I don't know that for a fact, but I know that the AHL NHL correlation is something that is certainly needs to be there. If we get to that step, and then maybe eventually down the road there is a one AA league, maybe that happens, but. Right now, not every team's affiliated. Not every team wants to be affiliated. You look at us. An affiliation has its goods and pros and cons. I guess the word. Does Kevin McClelland want an affiliation? I don't know if he necessarily does. I mean, do the fans want an affiliation necessarily? I mean, be sure great to have that top prospect here for one game. And then when he's gone on the biggest weekend of the season for a month, so there's pros and cons. Obviously, the Denver Cutthroats, it worked out for them. Though, granted, I mean, they had to patch that lineup together at times. So, we'll see. We'll see what the future holds. This is going to be an interesting this time next year is going to be an interesting time. It's going to be an interesting off season next season.
That's all. Those are all the talking points I have for Joel. Do you guys have anything, Zach, Jason?
Well, I want to kind of reiterate on a.
What's your favorite food?
Hot dogs,
eggplant parmesan.
Nice.
Ooh, okay,
that's at East Coast though.
Yeah.
I want to go back though real quickly. You seemed very enthusiastic and very positive, regardless of facts, rumors, or anything else. Do you feel confident though that the Central Hockey League within the next 5 years will be a growing, a good thing for everybody? No matter how many teams or anything like that, just a growing organization.
Sure, I don't see why not. And I tell you, for the simple reason that okay, Rodney Steven, Brandon Steven, they own the Wichita Thunder. Going back, and we didn't really touch on this, but if they had not bought this team, there's a chance that the Wichita Thunder would not be here right now.
Absolutely.
Because our owner at the time, Warren Chen, was done. He'd had enough. He wanted out. So we were able to get that deal done, and they kept the team here. Well,
and you were the centerpiece of that.
I wouldn't say I'm the
deal.
centerpiece, but I had a little bit to do with it. I was pushing Brian Wells, who was the GM of the rink. I was like, you got to talk to Rodney. We got to talk to Rodney. We need an owner. We need a new owner. We need a local owner. Please get a meeting. We managed to get a meeting, and next thing you know, I flew Jeff London from Tulsa, and then we had a meeting with him, and we got the ball rolling. So I don't like to take credit for things I really don't. So I helped out, and that's good enough. The next year, Tulsa, same thing. Horn had enough. He wanted out, and my owners believe. Why couldn't Tulsa be like it used to be? I mean, back in 92, 93, 94, 95, Wichita and Tulsa.
Those were awesome.
Yeah. Why we've managed to have our ups and downs. We went from 4,400 a game our first year to 6,000 to 6,500, back down to 4,500 our fourth year when the whole team left, and we managed to get back up to 5,000, 5,500, and then in the early 2000s we were back down to 3,700, our lowest all-time attendance. Yep. Got it back up into the sixes, and last year was a little bit of a down year, but it's cyclical. And my owners would not agree with that. We got to go up, up, up. Just remember that. So I was just kidding about that part. So we keep Tulsa in and let's grow them and help them. Sales were up this year. They made the playoffs for the first time in 2 years, but only the second time in like a decade.
Yeah.
And same thing with Allen. Let's keep the team in the league and keep it healthy. I think the biggest thing to remember is that my owners aren't my owners. The Thunder owners are not just buying teams for fun. They're building it because they believe in the Central Hockey League and the growth of the league. And the owner Rodney and Brandon, they're an owner of the league. Well, they didn't just decide I'm an owner of a league. You got to pay to become an owner of the league, and you got to pay for Tulsa to be an owner of the league. And now You had to buy Allen. Well, you had to pay for Allen to be a part of the league. So, I mean, they're not just buying teams and putting money out there so that they can see how many teams they can own. I mean, they're here for the long haul to grow this league. I mean, that's the one thing Rodney uses that word grow all the time. He took over the Wichita Ice Center and then the Junior Thunder and the Thunder to grow hockey in Wichita, and now he's growing the Central Hockey League, and that's where we're going. So the biggest difference for me is that 5 years ago, geez, we had Rio Grande and Laredo and Bossier Shreveport, and I talk about some of the teams that were winning awards on a regular basis and lighting it up and having great crowds. And look what they went. Their owners or something ran those teams into the ground, and now they're all out of the league.
Yeah.
So now we've got owners, and whether or not Denver packs them in, their owners committed. And Quad City made a huge bump this year. I mean, Brampton, I think that their owner will tell you that they certainly wanted to have better attendance this year. But, it is what it is. Rome wasn't built in a day. This league's not going to be built in a day, but this league's been around for 23 years, so it obviously has some good staying power. I mean, we hired a new commissioner who was a former president of the Pittsburgh Penguins, so he knows what he's doing, and his main task is the growth of this league. So his job is to go out there and find new cities, and that's what's going to keep this thing going. But whether, like I said earlier, if we have 6 teams, I mean, how great was the Central Hockey League? We had 6 teams.
That was some of the best hockey
awesome,
I've ever
man.
seen.
It was awesome. We had 6 solid teams, and everybody hated each other.
Yep.
Well, let's get back to some hatred. Let's get some good, nice Donnybrook.
Well, let's get the Dallas Freeze and the Fort Worth Fire back in it.
Well, we have the Allen Americans. I mean, the Fort Worth Fire, for that fact, I mean, pretending, I think there's a hope that they're going to build an arena down there. I know that it's in discussion, so hopefully that's a team that you get back there. I mean, it's all they're missing.
Yeah.
I think overall it'd be good for the Central Hockey League to have that, because you looked at the Fort Worth Allen series, and it was great series to watch, and they do have a separate fan base down there
and the fans were really into it too.
Yeah.
That's what really helped pack the buildings down there. Back to your point about the attendance, that second Valley that we had.
Right.
What attributed to it the attendance to go back up? Derek Laxdal. Let's talk about him. How he won the Memorial
Derek
Cup.
Laxdall. I mean, I have a text message on my phone from him from yesterday. It's one guy I had a great relationship with, and I when he was here, I was over dinner at his house all the time. Just a great guy, great coach. I've kept in touch with him last year through the playoffs, this year through the playoffs. I talked to him. His text was to me yesterday was awesome feeling. Hardest trophy to win. No kidding, man. I mean, it's hard enough to win the Western Hockey League when you got, 24 teams in that league. I don't know exactly how many, though I can tell you the nickname of any junior hockey league team. I quizzed myself earlier. You want to throw one out there?
Brandon
Wheat Kings. The Valdor Ferrers. The
Kelowna.
Rockets.
Prince Albert.
Raiders. Red Deer Rebels. You're only doing the Western Hockey League.
You want me to do more?
We do Ontario. We can do the Chicoutimi Saguenay from the Quebec Major Junior
Kitchener.
Hockey. Yes. Rangers.
I'm doing only the ones I can pronounce.
Yeah, that's okay.
I'm not going into Quebec.
My favorite, you can look it up, is the Baie-Comeau Drakkar.
Yeah. Isn't that like the
Isn't that a cologne? Isn't that a cologne?
Yeah.
Isn't there
Drakkar Noir.
Yes.
That's close. I used to wear it when I had my mullet. The Blainville Boisbriand.
Drummondville.
Voltigeur.
Yeah.
Okay.
Plymouth.
That's awesome.
Whalers.
Okay.
Did I prove my point?
Nah,
There are a few that I actually might not know, but you'd have to stump me. But the Kingston Frontenacs. Nope, that's right. Oh, so anyway, I didn't even answer the question. Laxey,
you're good.
Great. I mean, great job. I don't know how this guy is not in the NHL within 5 years. He's got to be an AHL coach. He's got to be. I mean, the Edmonton Oilers have to be so impressive. I mean, the Edmonton Oilers own the Edmonton Oilers. You're talking championship, lost in finals championship, Memorial Cup. I mean, he's got to be in their future plans. He's got to be a guy that is coaching in the NHL for the Edmonton Oilers, assuming that's something he wants.
Yeah.
It's 5 years down the road.
And he's been working in the same building the Oilers do.
But yeah, if you're the Oilers, you got to be stoked about the future with a coach like that in the helm.
I mean, he brought the Thunder back from despair. I mean, we had gone through our period of 2001, 2002, 2003, where we did not make the playoffs. He got us into the playoffs in 2004. We lost in the first round. 2005. No, that's not true.
We lost in the second round.
We lost in the second round both years. We beat Colorado and lost to Shreveport, and then we beat Shreveport and lost to Colorado.
Yep.
And, and then goes to the East Coast League, wins a championship, goes to the Western Hockey League, wins 2 plus the Memorial Cup. So pretty darn impressive.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Mark French, former Thunder coach, is coaching in the KHL, if you're not aware.
Mm-hmm.
Won a couple of Calder Cups with the
Hershey Bears
there in the American Hockey League.
Doug
So
Shedden,
there've been
won
there've been
some
a lot
championships
of
over there. Don Jackson, little known fact, has won. Look him up on Hockey DB. I believe he's won the
we just partied
German
with his
championship
son. That's
4 years.
Yeah, I play hockey with this.
Yeah, we just party with his son. That's we get all our information with Don through.
And is he still over there?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I mean, he's back he's back.
Another guy, I love him.
Yeah.
Been in touch with him, stayed in touch with him over the years. Obviously, I've not stayed in touch with Brent Bilodeau, not for lack of trying. I did send him a couple of congratulation texts when he got a job and whatnot. I've emailed Mark French a few times. I may or may not have heard back. I don't remember. I didn't fire him, but I think he was a little bitter when he left. But everything happens for a reason. Because God bless, he went and won the AHL Calder Cup. So certainly worked out for the best for him. So
Yeah.
One guy that speaking about great coaches though, Kevin McClelland. I feel for him. He won so many as a cup, and I remember how upset he was when we lost that game 7-0. And he's a great coach, and he's going to win a championship. He's going to win a coaching championship.
Yep.
Hopefully,
Just
it's
a matter
here.
of when.
Hopefully, it's here in the next 1 to 3 years.
All right.
Yep.
I'll tell you what, folks, Thunder fans, listen to me. If Jack McClelland does not make the Vancouver Giants in the Western Hockey League, he will be back playing for the Junior Thunder. And if you haven't been to a Junior Thunder game to see Jack McClelland play, you have to see this kid play. He's the most energetic, dynamic player in this league. He scores, he hits, he fights. He plays hockey like hockey's supposed to be played.
Yep.
So you come out and see him play. We've got a special treat in store, and we're working on it. And I say this loosely because I haven't talked to Coach yet, and I haven't finalized anything yet. But we usually play a back-to-back doubleheader, Junior Thunder and Thunder, at the Ice Center. And this year our plan is to play the Thunder game followed by a Junior Thunder game against the Oklahoma City Junior Blazers, who are coached by Tyler Fleck and Marty Standish. And they'll be more than happy. They're looking forward to coming in here and being heckled over that 2-foot-high glass at the Wichita Ice Center. So, and a little twist that we're planning on, too, is that we're going to start the Junior Thunder game immediately after the Thunder game ends. There'll be no delay, no warm-up. We're going to do the warm-up on the other sheet of ice, and then so that they're ready. As soon as the Thunder game ends, we'll do the stars of the game. We'll do a zam, and bam, Junior Thunder game starts in 7 minutes. So that way we can hopefully keep the crowd of 1,000 people that usually attend the Thunder exhibition game there, and they can hopefully see a real good, hard-hitting. I'm telling you that we've really talked up that rivalry at the Junior Thunder Western States Hockey League meetings that I was at in Vegas last week. It was really rough on me last week. I had to go to Vegas for 5 days for meetings. It was really rough.
Speaking of that, we'll get you out of here on this. Zach, Jason, myself, my wife, the crew of us going to Vegas in October. You are Mr. Vegas. What are some hot spots we need to hit while we're out there?
Well, I believe all three of you are Facebook friends of mine.
Yes.
Hugo's Cellar.
Yeah.
Okay.
You.
I'm brave about it. I've sent a friend of mine there. I sent my cousin was in town with her, both my brother and sister. I have a friend of mine on Facebook. You'll see DJ Johnson, Stephanie Johnson. They're heading out to Hugo's. Made the reservations. Make the time to go down to the Four Queens at Fremont Street and go to the Hugo Cellar. Now you're going to it's going to be $75 a person.
Yeah.
But if you want to treat yourself to an amazing meal, I mean, you get the appetizers alone. The meal includes your appetizers, your sides, comes with dessert, sorbet in the middle. Women get a rose when they enter, and a salad cart, which is
Jason gets the rose.
yes. Well, I thought you said your wife was gone.
Yes.
Anyway, Hugo's is a great place.
Still.
I also recommend
2 roses.
I also recommend the Deal or No Deal slot machine.
Well, where
How much did you win?
Well, that's at the Stratosphere. But
Yeah.
Bottom line is I put in $40 on Tuesday and I cashed out $90 Saturday playing on that same ticket.
Nice.
I also placed second in a poker tournament out there
Nice.
and got a $300 windfall the first night, so that worked out well. But Fremont Street's a nice, fun place to walk around. Hugo's is a place to go dinner. The Stratosphere's fun. I mean, I always stay at the Stratosphere because we have meetings there. But go to the top.
Nice.
See if anyone's got the guts to jump off the edge.
Hell no.
Well,
Or
I'm not gonna
ride the roller coaster
I've-
that goes over the edge.
I've
not
seen
gonna
that.
do
I've seen
that.
that twice in person. I'm never doing that.
I'm not
No.
necessarily Mr. Vegas. Ride the monorail. You can ride the monorail. It
Yeah.
goes the
Oh,
length of the strip.
I've
but
done that.
be prepared. There's a lot of construction on the strip, and it is hard to get from place to place.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
but where are you guys
just
staying?
walk.
You're staying
We're
anywhere?
staying at a place called Tahiti Village, which is just about a mile off the strip.
Okay.
It's near the airport.
You'll be cabbing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I was going to say,
When
if you
we're
stay on
not
the strip, stay
drinking
mid-strip.
so bad that we can't crawl.
That's correct. Well, I partook in a lot of happy hours last week. I did. I don't know how I made it through the night some nights, but that's not professional. So,
Drink of choice. On the way up.
I pretty much only drink bourbon and 7 now.
Nice.
Drink of choice.
He should go to the
Jesse
Banyan
James
House.
Love the bourbon. After this show, I'm probably going to go have one.
There you go.
All right.
Well, there you go. Thank you
That's
so
it?
much for doing this. That's it. That's
That was
all
nothing.
that we can do for you.
No, it's a pleasure.
Thanks so much to Joel T. Lomurno for joining us on the Minor League Hockey Report podcast. This is part 1 of 2. We will have part 2
Bob
out to you
Hoffman.
on Monday with Bob Hoffman in our second installment. So on behalf of Jason Shavi, Zach Quarter, I'm Matthew Harding. Thanks for listening to part 1 of 2 of the Minor League Hockey Report podcast, episode number 28.
Bye.
You're listening to the Minor League Hockey Report podcast.